And mindset I'm defining as your attitudes and assumptions about something, your attitudes, assumptions about what's possible, your attitudes and assumptions about what you're capable of. Because you could believe it's possible for somebody else to have that loving relationship or build that big business or have 100,000 followers, but you might not believe it's possible for you, and you can still be stuck in that box. Besides what is possible, what you're capable of, what you believe you deserve, right? A lot of people might be stuck in that box because they might know the right methods and might be motivated, but they don't believe that they deserve those things. So those are the things that I talk about, uncovering and unlimiting those lies. So if you believe you're not smart enough, if you believe you're a slow reader, if you believe I am a procrastinator, whatever it happens to be, you're stuck in that box. The second circle that you have to take into account besides mindset, and there are many interventions, by the way, like if you feel like you could identify a lie that, hey, I'm not smart enough, I don't have the resource, whatever it is, there are things that people have talked about on your show, whether it's emotional freedom technique, EMDR, hypnosis. There's ways of changing your belief systems, right? The second circle, though, is just as powerful. The second M, besides mindset, is motivation. And motivation, you could have a limitless mindset, but not be motivated to get out of that box. You might think everything is possible, I deserve it, I'm capable, but you're not motivated to get off the couch and do those things. And so if we were to do a thought experiment and say, what do you want to be motivated for? Maybe for some people, it's to read every day. Leaders or readers. Somebody has decades of experience like you do. You put it into a book, think like a monk, and somebody sit down a few days and read that book. They could download decades and days, but they're not reading every day. Maybe they're really good at buying a book, but they're not good at reading that book. This is some people, right? They're very good at adding to cart, and it sits on their shelf, and it becomes shelf-help, not self-help, right? But they're not motivated. And so maybe their mindset is, yeah, it's good to grow, but they're not motivated. So P stands for purpose. And what I mean by purpose is, and you're an expert at this, is just not just cognitive reasons, but how do you feel about something? Because we know we're not logical. We are more emotional, right? You mentioned that if there's a song that can take you back to when you're a child, it's that emotional feeling, that mood that got linked to that information. It's just like a food or a fragrance that can take you back to when you're a kid. So purpose, allowing yourself to feel the benefits instead of just, it has to go from your head to your heart to your hands. Right? And so allow yourself to feel that. But even if someone has purpose, they might not read, because the E stands for energy, right? Some people, if they haven't slept because they have a newborn child, they can't focus, right? They can't have the mental fortitude. Or maybe they ate some junk food. And I don't think there's junk food, there's junk and there's food. But maybe they're in a food coma and they don't have the energy to study, right? So you have, we talk about the best brain foods, how to reduce stress, because it takes up a lot of energy. Your peer group could take a lot of energy out of you also as well. But let's say you have limitless purpose and limitless energy. The S3 are those small, simple steps. Those tiny little actions you could take. So maybe it's working out and that's too big, or going back to reading. Maybe it's reading a chapter is too big for someone who doesn't do that. Maybe just opening the book is a small, simple step. Reading one line is a small, simple step. Maybe working out an hour a day is tough. Maybe getting your running shoes on. Maybe getting yourself to the gym is a small, simple step. I think little by little, a little becomes a lot, and so that's really the key, is consistency. Because if you're persistent, you could achieve it. But if you're consistent, you get to keep it. Right? It's the difference between something being attainable and sustainable over time. And then finally, the last M are the methods. Once you have a limitless mindset, you have a limitless motivation, you could be doing old methods and still not get to where you need to go. Old methods of sales, old methods of learning, old methods of health. And you wonder why you're still stuck in that box. And so when's the last time we took time to upgrade our knowledge, our skills, our abilities? So those are the 3 M's. And if people draw that out or even imagine that, you'll notice that the 3 M's overlap and they create 3 I's too, where mindset and motivation cross over. The first I is inspiration, right? Because it changes. What's inspiration? Something that changes your mindset about what's possible. And also you're a little bit motivated. You have some drive and purpose, but you might not have the methods. You might not have the instruction, right? So you're still stuck in that box. Where mindset and methods cross over, you believe it's possible in your mind and you know what to do, the methods. That's the second I, which is ideation. It just stays an idea, right? But nothing's happening because you're not motivated. And then finally, where motivation and methods cross over, you have the third eye, which is implementation. You're motivated, you have purpose, you have energy, and you know what to do get out of that box. But you can still be stuck in that box because you're limited by your mindset.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think. And then where all three connect, you have the fourth eye, which is your identity, which is integration. It's just who you are, and that's really the goal. So my conversation with becoming more limitless is about redrawing, like where are we stuck? And I think once you could identify, oh, it's let's say someone can't remember names. Is it my mindset? Do I believe I'm just too old, or I have a horrible memory? Or maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's, hey, I don't have a purpose. I don't have a reason to remember their names.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm just really tired.
Yeah.
Or I don't have the methods. I was never taught. There's no class on how to remember names. And it works for yourself. And also it's a map you could use with people around you.
Yeah.
It's a lens when you're working with your kids and they're not doing something that they know they should do.
Yeah.
Is it their mindset? Do they not believe in themselves? Do they believe they're capable? Do they not believe they deserve it? Or maybe they have no purpose to clean their room or to study these things. If it's not relevant to them, they're probably not. And so you know what to address. Maybe we have to work on optimizing their energy, because you don't have energy, you do it. Right?
Yeah.
It's this whole idea, you take your nouns in your life and turn them into verbs. You don't have focus. People are thinking, that's my problem, Jim. I'm watching this because I don't have focus. But you don't have focus, you do it. There's a process for focusing. You don't have a memory. There's a process of encoding, storing, and retrieving. You don't even have energy. There's a process for generating energy. As our friend Brendan Burchard talks a lot about, a lot that, you generate this kind of energy. And it can be the methods. Sometimes it's simply learning better tools also as well. So you could use it with your friends. You can work with your team. And this works micro, and it also works macro. This works at a cultural level. It works at the level of community. It works at the level of your country. There's a set mindset about, what may be around certain issues, right? And it's really hard to create change or becoming more limitless, based on certain mindset around maybe fairness and equality, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
Or maybe these people in power, maybe they don't have purpose. Or maybe they're being incentivized to keep things in a certain way, or maybe they lack energy or resources, or maybe they're using old methods for leadership or making change, right? So it could happen micro or macro.